How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping out another video. Right, guys, the story I'm about to read you is massive. It's about prisoners buying food from their canteen, and then it's being sent out to people and families that are struggling on universal credit. Now, this universal credit, guys, it's costing people lives and stuff. People have committed suicide because it's driven them to the brink. Do you know what I mean? How capitalism works in this country, and how the rich are getting richer and the poor are paying for it. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what? Ironically, all these millionaires and stuff with money in offshore accounts and stuff and tax havens and stuff, so they don't have to pay tax to the British government, including MPs, by the way, and these big corporations, right? And they somehow point the finger at people that are on minimum wage and benefits, saying that they're the problem. It's true. This universal credit's disgusting, guys. It's like social cleansing. It's cost people their lives. Some people have they've had mental breakdowns, they've become mentally ill because they're anxious and they're struggling and they don't know how they're going to survive and support themselves. Now, those on the right side of the tracks are going to say, well, simple, get a job, right? Well, it's easier to say than it is actually to do. Jaguar Land Rover today have just cut 4,500 jobs. That's 4,500 people that are going to be out of a job. It's the reality, guys. Hard times and stuff, and everything comes onto that bloody Brexit. Well, this story, like I say, should be in every newspaper, on every radio station, and be all over the internet. Will it? No. And the story reads: prisoners bought food from their canteen to send to food banks to help other people on universal credit. I've since been told of similar donations to food banks organised in other prisons. It says here, 1/4 of people who turn up to food banks face benefits delays. At the Howard League for Penal Reform, we often visit prisons. When you are campaigning on prison-related issues, it's important to see as much as you can of life behind bars. Sometimes you learn something of life outside of prison too. I recently visited a prison and discovered that in the run-up to Christmas, there had been a particular initiative suggested by prisoners, not by prison managers, by prisoners, and taken up by staff. Prisoners had suggested donating food to food banks in the community to help the unemployed and those who are working but struggling with delays to benefits. The problems of universal credit are well documented, but it was startling to see them referred to in a prison. Not so long ago, I sat in on a multi-agency meeting in another part of the country looking at issues affecting children and families, and I heard a succession of people from the local authority describing the difficulties faced by those working and awaiting support through universal credit. Waiting many weeks before benefits are paid is pushing some people into real hardship. Yet here we are, people arguably in the worst of straits in prison, wanting to do something to help. The idea was taken up by the governor, and both prisoner and staff purchased food items and donated them to the community. Most prisoners earn between £10 and £30 a week. This has to cover everything from basic treats like biscuits to toiletries, phone calls and stationery. A Freedom of Information response gives you an idea of what can be ordered from what's called the prison canteen. A reminder that prisoners are part of the community. Prisoners brought items from the canteen to be sent out, and staff also donated food as individuals. It was an impressive joint effort. A reminder that not only are prisons communities in themselves, but they remain part of our wider community. But some people might like to banish prisoners out of sight and out of mind. Yet it is also troubling to see that some of the most vulnerable people in society trying to help others, however humble their efforts may have been. I've since been told of similar donations to food banks organised in other prisons. The prison system in England and Wales is currently facing a serious crisis of safety, with record levels of violence and self-injury. What does it say to the people living and working in such a troubled system? Are we trying to ameliorate social problems found outside of the prison gates? Poverty and homelessness will continue to contribute to crime if they are not dealt with. This is not simply about particular government policy. This is not working problems of food insecurity or child poverty, and the rising levels of homelessness will themselves contribute to crime if they are not checked. In turn, we will only increase the pressure on an already overcrowded and failing prison system. At the local meeting I mentioned earlier, there were concerns aired that issues developing in the community meant that children were both more likely to be victimised, but also to fall into crime themselves. None of this will be solved by prisons, and if action isn't taken, then whole communities both behind doors and beyond the bars will suffer. And this is written by Andrew Nielsen, who is quite high up within the Howard League for Penal Reform. Now, guys, this is the first time I've heard of this personally. Doesn't surprise me though. A lot of prisoners have. You've got to remember, a lot of prisoners might have been on benefits before they've entered prison. A lot of them will be working, but a lot of them will have been reliant upon the benefit system. The universal credit, which is just, I'm scathing of it, that might have affected their families personally as well. And they want to help. So if you can think, right, not every prisoner in prison works, not every prisoner in prison gets between £10 and £30 a week. You only get that if you are working within the prison, and there's more people locked behind the door than there are working within the prison. And that depends that doesn't really matter what prison you're in. There's always more people locked up than are working. But yeah, prisoners do a lot for society, guys. Now, most of those people on the right side of the tracks that want to brutalise prisoners ought to be ashamed of themselves, because they're ill-informed, clueless, and clearly haven't got a clue what prison should be about and what goes on within prison. When you're in prison, you're one step up from being like rock bottom. And to be honest, prison is rock bottom, in my opinion. Me personally, prison is rock bottom. But people on universal credit, they've got their freedom, but they're struggling to live. They're struggling to put food on the table. It's heat as in warmth, like heating, or it's eat as in a warm meal. They can't have both. Some people then start to fall into shoplifting to feed themselves and to feed their families. People do dodgy things, guys, right? And like I say, these multi-millionaire corporations and the MPs and stuff that have got their money hidden in offshore accounts, blaming us at the bottom of the hill, need to take a long hard look at themselves, guys. You know what I mean? These millionaires that are tax dodging and stuff like that are telling people that it's those at the bottom rung of the ladder, the working class, the unemployed and prisoners, that are the problem. When I've been in prison myself, we've donated to charities and stuff like that. I've even heard of prisoners chipping in, contributing towards the cost of a funeral for a prisoner in the Northwest. I won't name that, but that was in a prison where the prisoner's family didn't have the money and they didn't want to give him a pauper funeral. And prisoners spoke to the unit managers and spoke to the governor, and prisoners chipped in, donated little or as much as they could to actually contribute towards the funeral. And like I say, this is a side of prisoners that more people need to see and to be aware of. When most of society want to lock us up, brutalise us, and we're out of sight and out of mind, you might have forgotten about prisoners, but prisoners haven't forgotten about you. And like I say, the donating stuff, in the gym, there might be like a static exercise bike in the gym, and they might be doing an exercise, like a bike ride, obviously static because they're in the prison, in the gym for charity. This is the thing, and it goes on, guys. People donate money to the Poppy Appeal. They donate. I've seen Muslim inmates donate towards I think a few years ago there was like a serious natural disaster in Pakistan, and they was donating to that. And like I say, charity is charity, guys. Whether it benefits us or not, or the wider society, it's a good thing. Like I say, some people want to look after their own religions and their own communities. For prisoners to buy food off their canteen, if you go to Asda, right, and at the back of the checkouts, right, there'll be a trolley, and the trolley you can put, there might be two trolleys. One might be for a local, dog rescue home, and you put in tins of dog food in there and dog biscuits and dog treats and stuff. And then you might have one for a food bank, let's say, for example, and people are donating. There's beans in there, there's meat, veg and stuff goes up quite quick, doesn't it? But you get a lot of tinned items in them, sort of food banks and stuff in these trolleys. And like I say, that sounds like what's going on in prison. Prisoners are donating, they're then handing it over. If you can imagine 50 prisoners a wing, right? Obviously there'll be more than that on a wing, but not everyone's going to donate or in a position to donate. But those that are donating, if every prisoner did that, then like I say, it's going to change public opinion to some extent. There'll always be those ignorant so-and-sos that don't appreciate the sentiment at all. But like I say, prisoners do a lot. Whether it's static bike rides in a prison gym, and they're doing 100 miles or 200 miles or whatever it might be on these exercise bikes, with the money and the proceeds going to charity. Just think, you're in prison, you've got next to nothing, and you're still willing to donate. You're psychologically all over the gaff. You might be suffering with severe mental health issues, right? And these prisoners have still got hearts. They're being brutalised by prisons and stuff, and the regimes and stuff, and the treatment and conditions within our prisons. And a lot of these people on the right side of the tracks that are clueless and ignorant, right, want to brutalise us further. And prisoners are there buying food from their own money to put into, to help starving families. Just put that into perspective. Prisoners, bottom rung of the ladder. Do you know what I mean? Literally, like, struggling, right? But and they're willing to buy food to give to other people on the outside that they don't know. Should be respected. This story should be in every prison newspaper, every national newspaper, every local newspaper, on every radio station, and this should be widespread discussions about this. And this story should see the light of day in like a higher capacity locally and nationally. Will it? No. But like I say, guys, it's common. It's common that prisoners do things for other people. And that's the thing, man. And it's I'm very interested to know your thoughts, guys. I've rambled on a bit, but the point is, prisoners are helping other people. That are prisoners. People should be helping prisoners, but prisoners are helping people. Like I say, there's a lot of organisations that help prisoners and stuff, blah blah blah. But like I say, prisoners are helping people on the outside that they don't know and giving the little that they have to them. Big respect. I'm glad this story's seen the light of day, really have. But it's in the iNews. It's not a widely read publication, so I hope it gets further afield. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it here. Let me know what you think about the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.